Would you want to date with a Japanese girl? You've probably seen the image in the anime and movies. Small, quiet, soft voice, docile and submissive. Not gonna corner you with a 40-minute conversation about gender dynamics. Tell them make everything a negotiation. Just take care of you. Come on, wake up. That's not a woman, that's a product. And the real version is way more complicated than that, even in some ways nothing like what you expected. So instead of arguing stereotypes, I'm walking you through the whole thing. First conversation to marriage. And at the end, if you don't mind, you tell me if you're actually built for this. First thing to get out of the way, not all the Japanese women are beautiful. The ones you're seeing, TV hosts, musicians, models, or actresses, not the top 1%, maybe less. Leave central Tokyo for a second, go somewhere people actually live. Stand on a regular street and count 100 women walking by. The percentage who match cute Japanese girl is not higher than anywhere else on earth. And while we're here, stop leaving those street pickup videos online. Japanese women do get approached in public sometimes, but the real success rate is basically close to zero. She will tell you she's late for work, her friend is waiting. If you don't know the Japanese social signals, you might think, oh, just the timing's bad. No means maybe. And if you keep pushing after that, many women will simply pretend not to understand you anymore. Unless you're actually living there, working there, sharing daily life with people over time. Randomly picking up a girlfriend is incredibly difficult there. Even friendship can feel strange at first. You'll notice many Japanese women use almost identical polite phrases. So nice meeting you. That's amazing. You're so kind. And after hearing it enough times, you start feeling like everybody rehearsed the same script. The same thing happens with plans. Some foreigners think Japanese women are constantly ghosting. You ask her out for dinner, she smiles immediately. Yeah, sounds great. Then one day before the meetup, sorry, something comes up. You think, why didn't she just say no earlier? But from her perspective, she already did. Maybe sometimes means probably never. That's the trap. The highest chance someone actually shows up is when she suggests the time and place herself. Otherwise, you often read the politeness as enthusiasm. Now here's the part nobody warns you about. Japanese women run on two completely different settings. Coworker or casual acquaintance, warm, helpful, smiling all the time. Genuinely easy to be around. But once intimacy begins, the expectation rises sharply. You may suddenly encounter emotional pressure, passive aggression, rigid standards, and strong control tendencies. And no, they usually won't scream at you directly, but weeks of cold silence and calculated distance do more damage than any open fight ever could. And here's another thing many foreigners don't expect. In many countries, owning a house makes you more attractive in dating. In Japan, it might actually count against you, unless you're buying what she picks. You think they care about look, money, or a good sense of humor? They care about the stuff foreigners barely think about. How many times a day you brush your teeth, whether you're showering in the morning or at night, how clean your apartment feels, how you organize the objects. You might laugh at this initially, but later you realize something important. Japanese relationship is extremely sensitive to repeatable daily friction, not dramatic conflict. Window open or closed, wash dishes immediately or later, how laundry is separated, who cleans the bathroom. And because of that, many couples establish rigid role divisions before marriage, almost like a contract negotiation. If the deal says the husband cleans the bathroom, the wife will not touch it. 3 months go by and it's not cleaned, she won't explode. She'll quietly pack a bag and go back to her parents. One more thing, if you get sick, especially something contagious, don't expect to be taken care of. Separate beds, possibly she goes home for a while. That's not hostility, that's just how it works. Completely opposite to the assumption many people carry into a relationship. But once you go deeper, all these behaviors start connecting into a larger structure. A lot of people get misled by TikTok, anime, or some adult videos. They think Japanese women are sexually open. But in reality, many of them are extremely cautious around non-familiar men. Sometimes modern societies look conservative from outside. When she doesn't say no directly, it's not because the door is open. It's because making the situation awkward in public is already considered unpleasant. And she assumes you speak the same unspoken language. Some people think if she didn't say no, I still have a shot. And that's where the misunderstanding begins. You might ask, what if I genuinely can't tell? What if she's actually interested but just being shy? That happens. Even Japanese people misread these signals sometimes. And that's exactly why the confession ritual exists. One person says it directly, I like you, please be with me. The other gives a clear answer. Until that exchange happens, nothing's official. You can go on 10 dates, hold hands, and technically still just be friends. It sounds excessive, but it removes all ambiguity before marriage. As for the bathroom negotiation, the shower schedule and dental clothes, all the same logic. You think they're open because Japan has relatively high rates of marital infidelity. Roughly 12% of Japanese people reportedly consider cheating morally acceptable, but few people notice that Japan's non-marital birth rate is extremely low in developed country standards, about 2%. Japanese society still places strong boundaries around formal relationships. Public affection remains restrained. Official confession ritual still matters. You get confused, right? You think marriage is two soulmates staying lifelong. Not in Japan. It's more like a strategic alliance between two social roles. Emotional needs don't have to be met inside the marriage. And once you realize that, all the things about all the stuff you feel strange can be explained. I mentioned in another video that historically, Japanese women once had positions much closer to men, but things changed dramatically during the modernization. From the late 19th century on, Japan systematically promoted the ideal of good wife, wise mother. And between 1926 to 1945, that pressure intensified heavily. Women were expected to support the household, support their husband, support the whole nation, and emotionally present that sacrifice as noble and voluntary. After 1945, the legal system changed, but the cultural structure didn't disappear. General Douglas MacArthur helped introduce legal equality for women after the war, but economically, Japan then built a new ideal: salaryman husband, full-time housewife. And during Japan's economic boom, that model became extremely powerful. The husband belonged to the company, overtime, drinking culture, corporate loyalty. The wife belonged to the home, cooking, child care, caring for parents, sacrificing free ambitions. And for a while, many women tolerated, because one salary could still support an entire family. Then the bubble economy collapsed in the 1990s, and suddenly the deal broke. Men were no longer reliable lifetime providers, but the expectation placed on women didn't disappear with it. They were expected for endless housework, bottomless assumed sacrifice. No leverage, no exit, without receiving all economic security in return. And for the next generation of girls growing up inside those households, the message became very clear: marriage can consume your entire identity. That's why many modern Japanese women strongly resist living with in-laws, serving the husband's parents, unlimited emotional labor, and strict boundaries. The contracts, the personal space, the obsession with role clarify, a lot of that is not rejection of love. It's rejection of what happened to their mothers. They're running a structural defense against the system that domesticated their grandmothers, against an economic arrangement that exploited their mothers, against generations of women who smiled and said nothing. That's not a red flag. That's the entire history of a country, showing up in how she decides who gets close to her. So, still want a Japanese girlfriend? Alright, that's it for today. If you also like digging to the root, hit follow or dig it deeper next time.